Alright, today is going to be Unit 6, Lesson 2 on similar figures. So first we have to remember what is a similar figure. So a polygon that is similar is going to have the same shape but different size. So same shape, different size. If polygons are similar, that means that their corresponding angles are congruent. So their corresponding angles will be congruent. Their corresponding sides are going to be proportional. So we learned about proportions in our last lesson. The ratio of corresponding sides is going to be called the scale factor. If polygons are similar, then their perimeters are also proportional. And our symbol for similar is going to be that. Okay, so to complete the proportion, I have my first triangle, so I like to look at my sides and I like to label them my small, my medium, and my large. So I'm going to do that the same thing over here. My small, my medium, and my large. So AB over DE, since they're both my small, I'm going to have BC over EF, and I'm going to have AC over DF. Notice how everything on top is from my first triangle. All of my sides on the bottom are from my second triangle, so you want to keep that consistent. Okay. So I want to know what is the scale factor of triangle ABC to triangle DEF. So I can choose any side, but I'm going to check all three. So let's start with our small side. So my small side, if I'm comparing my small sides, I want to start with ABC. So that would be 8 over 12, which can be simplified to 2 over 3. I can do the same thing for my medium side. So starting with ABC, my medium side is 10 over my medium side is 15. And you'll notice when I simplify this, I can divide them both by 5, and that will also simplify to 2 over 3. For my large side, I'm going to have 14 over 21, and that as well simplifies to 2 over 3. So that was ABC to DEF. So now if I want the scale factor of DEF to ABC, all I have to do is flip this fraction. So instead of 2 over 3, it'll be 3 over 2. What is the ratio of the perimeter of DEF to ABC? Well, since it's the same as this one, it'll be 3 over 2. And then to write a similarity statement, I would just say triangle ABC is similar to triangle, and let's see, I said A, B, C, so I went small, medium, large, so I have to do the same thing. D, E, F. All right. Number 2. Same idea. I'm going to look at my triangle. I'm going to label my sides small, medium, large. Looking at my triangle over here, this is going to be my small side, my medium side, and my large side. So RN is my small side, so that's going to match with AE, my other small side. Remember, I'm going to have my first triangle on the top and my second triangle on the bottom. Alright, so now let's do our medium side. So I'm going to say RY, and that would be over DA. Alright, and then my next one I'll do large. I will say NY, and that will be over ED. Alright, so now I want to find my scale factor. So again, I'm going to start with my small fraction. So I'm going to do 8. Oh, and let me just double check. I want to do NRY to EAD. So NRY. So I start here. So 8 over 10. I can divide the top and bottom by 2, and that'll give me 4/5. For my medium, I'm going to have 9 over 11.25. That will also simplify to 4/5. Remember, with the ratios, you never want them to be a decimal, you want them to be a fraction. And my last one will be 12 over 15. If I divide them both by 3, that will give me 4/5. Okay, so my scale factor of NRY to EAD is 4 over 5. So if I want my scale factor of EAD to NRY, I can just flip this. So that'll be 5 over 4. I want the ratio of my perimeter of NRY to EAD. So that's going to be the same as my scale factor. So that'll be 4/5. For my similarity statement, I'm going to say RNY is similar, so you use your similar symbol, to, so I said RNY. So I went small, then to my large, then to my medium. So here I'm going to say AED. Alright, number 3. I can find missing angle measures or side lengths in similar polygons. So, triangle KLM is similar to triangle PQR with a scale factor of 3 to 5. Find each measurement. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to label my sides small, medium, large. I know that KL is going to match up with PQ, so this is going to be my small side. I know that LM is going to match with QR, so this is going to be my large. And I know that MK is going to match with RP, so this is going to be my medium side. So I like to do that because now this is going to help me set up my proportion. So I need to set up a proportion to find each of my missing sides. So I will start with PQ just because that's what's listed here first. So PQ is my small side right here, which matches with LK. I know that the scale factor is 3 to 5. So I can say 3 over 5 should be equal to 6 over PQ. Or if you want to call this X, you can. I will probably gonna write x, because I actually am gonna call that x. So now this is a proportion, so this is what we learned in our first lesson where we can cross multiply. So when I cross multiply, I'm gonna have 3 times x should be equal to 5 times 6. Well, I know 5 times 6 is 30. To solve for x, I divide by 3, and I get x equals 10, but don't forget that x was PQ. So I know PQ is 10. I can write that in if I want. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for QR. QR is my large side, which matches with LM. My scale factor hasn't changed. It's still 3 over 5. So I know that 3 over 5 should be equal to 15 over QR. Again, I'm going to call QR x when I solve this. I can cross multiply, so I'm going to have 3 times x is equal to 5 times 15. Whatever that is. 75? Double check. Since it's late, I don't want to get my math wrong. Yes. I divide by 3. And you should get x equals 25. All right, we're going to do the same thing for PR. PR matches with KM, which is 12. So using my scale factor, 3 over 5 should be equal to 12 over PR. All right, again, I'm going to call this x, and I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to have 3x is equal to 60. I divide by 3, and I get x equals 20, which is really PR. One thing I'm going to go back and do is just fill in these answers in my picture. So this was QR was 25, and PR is 20. All right. The last thing we want to do is find our missing angles. So I want to find angle K, angle L, and angle M. Looking at my triangle right here, I see 49 and 108, and then I have a missing angle. I know to find missing angles, well, I know that the whole triangle is going to be 180. So first I'm going to add 108 and 49, which is 157, and I'm going to subtract that from 180 to find my missing angle. So I know that this missing angle is 23 degrees. So how does that help us? At the very beginning of this lesson, we talked about corresponding angles and corresponding sides. So if you go back to the top, corresponding angles are congruent. Corresponding sides are proportional. So we just use proportions to find all of our missing sides. I'm telling you that all your angles should be congruent. All your corresponding angles should be congruent. So all I have to do is match up my corresponding angles. So using my similarity statement, I know that angle K matches with angle P. So if angle P is 108, angle K is also 108. Angle L is going to match with angle Q. LQ. So if Q is 49, that means L is 49. And M is going to match with R. So if R is 23, that means M is 23 degrees. So corresponding angles are congruent, corresponding sides are proportional. We're going to use that information to help us with some of these problems here. I believe most of these we're going to be finding missing sides. So again, you have to remember that corresponding sides are proportional. So if we're looking for missing sides, we're always going to be setting up a proportion. All right, let's see. So here I have triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, and I want to find the length of AB. So let's see. I want to find the length of AB. So really I want to focus on AB, which is worth x minus 4. I need to know what corresponds with AB. So looking at my similarity statement, AB is going to correspond to DE, right here. I also know that BC, right here, which is labeled as 3, is going to correspond to EF, right here, which is 9. So using that information, I can set up a proportion. So, starting with my first triangle, I'm going to start with my smaller triangle. I'm going to say that 3 to 9, so 3 over 9, should be equal to, again, starting with my same triangle, x minus 4 over 2x plus 1. So that's how I set up this problem. Okay, so now I need to cross multiply. So our first lesson where we learned cross multiplication and setting of proportions is super important. We're going to be using that all day today. So when I cross multiply, I'm going to do 3 times 2x plus 1. That should be equal to 9 times x minus 4. Whenever you have an expression and not just an x value or not just a variable, you want to make sure you're putting that in parentheses, because now we need to distribute. So I'm going to distribute here and over here. So 3 times 2x is going to be 6x. 3 times 1 plus 3 equals 9 times x is 9x. 9 times negative 4, negative 36. Once you're at this point, you should be able to solve these problems pretty quickly just by solving the equations. So I subtract 6x from each side, because like I said, this is a skill that was taught in algebra. So I'm just going to rewrite this over here. So solving equations is an algebra skill. I'm going to add 36. That's going to give me 39 equals 3x. When I divide by 3, I get x equals 13. Let's not forget what this question asked us to do. It asked us to find the length of AB. Well, I know that AB is equal to x minus 4. So AB is going to be equal to 13 minus 4. So AB will be equal to 9. All right, let's look at our next one, number 5. If triangle ABC is similar to triangle EDC, find the values of x and y. All right, so let's see. Here is my x, 3x minus 1. And that is AB. AB, from looking at my similarity statement, is going to match with ED. ED, 12. going to use another color here. I have AC right here. Looking at my similarity statement, I know AC is going to match with EC right here. So these two are going to match. So I'm going to use those in separate proportions. So my first proportion, if I start with this triangle over here, I can say that 3x minus 1 over 12 should be equal to, and I can say 5 over 4, because those don't have variables in it. So if they don't have variables, then that's helping me find my scale factor. So now I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to have 4 times 3x minus 1. That should be equal to 5 times 12. I'm going to distribute. I only have to use distributive property once. That's going to give me 12x minus 4 should be equal to 70. And now I'm solving for x. So I add 4 to each side. Divide by 12. And I get that x is equal to, I'm actually getting, if I were to simplify this, I would get a decimal. So let's see. When I simplify, that's going to be 16 over 3. And we can leave it like that. All right. So for y, I'm going to say 20 over 4y should be equal to 5 over 4. Because you want to make sure that you are matching up your same triangle. So these both belong to the same triangle, and then on my denominator they both belong to the same triangle. I cross multiply. That's going to give me 20y, because 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 20 is 80. Divide by 20. And you get that y is equal to 4. All right, number 6. So triangle QRM. So that's this big triangle right here. Is similar to NPM. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these two triangles into separate drawings. You don't have to do that, but it is something that could help. So let's see, I have QRM. QR is 45. RM is this whole entire length. So to find the length of RM, I've got to add 36 and 60, and that would give me 96. And then QM is both of these chunks combined, 2x plus 6 and 5x. Well, I know that those two combined would be 7x plus 6. My smaller triangle, draw it in right here, I'll squeeze it in, which is NPM. I've got y, 60, and 5x. So now that you have them separate, it might help to match up your corresponding sides. So you always want to find two sides that are just numbers, because that's going to help you find your scale factor. So I'm looking here and I see that RM corresponds with PM, and they are both numbers. So now I know that I can use 96 over 60 as my scale factor. And I see that QM and NM, that's going to help me find x. So let's start there. So I can say that 96 over 60, remember whatever triangle you started with first on top, that's what you want to keep. So now I'm going to say 7x plus 6, and that would be over 5x. So again, we're going to cross multiply. So again, that first lesson on cross multiplication is super important. So I'm going to do 5x times 96 should be equal to 60 times 7x plus 6. Again, I need to use distributive property. Oops, hold on. There we go. So I'm going to use it once, and then here I don't really have to use it, but you can, if you want to think about it like distributive property, you can. Alright, so first we got to do 5 times 96, which is going to give me 480. So 480x equals 60 times 7x is going to give me 420x plus 60 times 6, 120. So solving for x, I'm going to subtract 420x from each side. That's going to give me 60x is equal to 120. I divide by 60. Oh, sorry. Just kidding. 60 times 6 is going to give me 360. 360. Alright, so 60x is equal to 360. I divide by 60, and I get x equals 6. Alright, for my y value, again, I'm going to use 96 over 60. But that should be equal to, this time, I'm going to say, should be equal to 45 over y. I cross multiply, so 96 times y. And then 60 times 45, it's going to give me 2,700. I divide by 96. And that gives me an ugly decimal of 28.125. All right. Number 7. If RST is similar to YSZ, where is YSZ? Okay. Find RT. So again, I'm going to separate these two triangles into my big triangle versus my small triangle. So let's see. This is going to be RST. So I know that this is 3x minus 7. It tells me that this whole length is worth 40. For my small triangle, I have y, s, z. I know that the bottom is 2x plus 2. And then I look here, and it looks like this right here is worth 5. If this whole thing is worth 40, then I know that this piece right here, which is really the piece that I want, is 35. 35. So to find RT, first I have to find X. So I know that ST is going to match up with SZ. So I can say 35. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to continue with what I just did, even though it's not necessarily what I wanted, but I'm going to show you that you can write proportions in different ways. So there's not only one correct way to write a proportion, there's multiple ways. So what I wanted to do was 40 over 35, but I wrote 35 first. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to say 35 over 40. And I'll get the same answer. It doesn't matter. So that just means when I write my next fraction, I have to start here with 2x plus 2. So I'm going to say 2x plus 2 over 3x minus 7. So you just want to make sure that you're matching up. So here I have my small triangle on top and my big triangle on the bottom. Okay, my small triangle on top, my big triangle on the bottom. Same thing, cross multiply. So I'm going to do 40 times 2x plus 2. That should be equal to 35 times 3x minus 7. I'm not actually going to go ahead and solve this whole thing. I want you to solve it down by yourself. But I will tell you what you should get as your final answer. You should get x. So if you want to pause this video and solve it, I suggest you do that. So I'm going to tell you what you should get. You should get x equals 13. And then you should get that RT, because remember that's what you really want to find, should be equal to 32. Those are the two answers that you should get. You should, once you're here, you're going to distribute, solve for x. All right, number 8. Anna stands 15 feet away. So first, I'm looking at this picture. This is Anna. She's obviously the person. Stands 15 feet away from the tree. Here's the tree. So that's telling me that this part right here is going to be worth 15. Anna is 15 feet away from the tree. Her shadow ends where the tree's shadow ends. So your shadow is always on the ground. So this right here is representing the shadows. Anna is 5 feet tall. I'm going to label that. There's Anna, she's 5 feet tall. And the length of her shadow is 7.5. So this bottom part is where your shadow would be. The tree shadow would be on the ground all the way out to here. This right here is going to be Anna's shadow, and it's 7.5 feet long. I want to know how tall is the tree, so that's going to be my x. So I'm going to separate these two pictures again. I'm going to have my big triangle and my small triangle. So my small triangle, I've got 5 and 7.5. For my big triangle, I've got x, and then this whole entire portion, I've got to add these two things together, 15 plus 7.5. And that's going to give me 22.5. So now I want to match up what I can. So I can say x over 5 should be equal to 22.5 over 7.5. So again, for this one I've got my big triangle on the top, my small triangle on the bottom. I cross multiply. I got 7.5x should be equal to 112.5. When you divide by 7.5, you should get x equals 15. I'm going to say feet. This is the height of the tree. Oopsie. Sorry. All right, last one. So this one's really similar to number 8, except there is no picture. So whenever there's not a picture, I always like to draw one. So a flagpole casts a 27-foot shadow. So I'm going to have a flagpole, and your picture doesn't have to be great. Here's a flagpole. It casts a 27-foot shadow. Your shadow is always on the ground. A person standing nearby, so here's a person standing nearby, casts an 8-foot shadow. So here's my person, their shadow is 8 feet. And I actually think that this is going to look like this. If the person is 6 feet tall, how tall is the flagpole? So the difference between these two is this one says her shadow ends where the tree's shadow ends. This one does not say that. They're just standing nearby and they cast an 8-foot shadow. So that's what I'm thinking. We'll see. So I can say that x over 6 should be equal to 27 over 8. I cross multiply. I get 8x should be equal to 162. My last step is to divide by 8. And I get 20.25. Ah, sorry. All right, so that is similar figures. So again, our first lesson on proportions is super, super important because we use them all throughout today's lesson. So make sure you understand how to cross multiply, and that'll really help.